Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. Um, okay, whether you're joining us from your comfort of your house or can you just say hi in the comment section? You're welcome. We're happy to have you here. I'll be looking at the chat box to hear from you. You want to say hi and where you're joining in from? Or drop an emoji. A journey from Lagos. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. So my name is Ademide Adeboye, and if you're joining Crosstie webinar for the first time, you might not know me, but the OGs already know me. This is our third edition, and I'm glad to be hosting this again. So you're welcome. You're welcome to another edition of Crosstie Solutions webinar. So if you're new and you're wondering, which Crosstie Solution, what did they do? This is just a webinar. I just joined because I saw the topic and I think I'd like to learn. So let me tell you who we are in Crosstie Solutions. So we're a people development and management consulting firm. And we've been around since 2013 doing, good works. And we have one mission, which is to improve business performance and productivity. We like to help organizations and professionals to improve in their productivity and performance as well. So we provide professional trainings in several skills, soft skills, technical skills, and then we also provide, consulting services. And we thought about it. Okay, so what do we do? We've been doing this for over a while. I would also like to, give out to people that not necessarily organization, just individuals. Let's have people, let's be the community where we give to people, where we teach people certain things. And then we decided to have a webinar. And I mean, that's why we're doing this today. And it's a part of our commitment to building capacity across different professional levels. And today we'll be talking about self-leadership. We've on this platform, we've talked about emotional intelligence, talked about executive presence, and several other things like that. And today we want to talk about leadership, and not just leadership in general, but self-leadership. Sometimes I'm sure that everyone here, we're not new to the word leadership, whether you're a corporate person or not a corporate person, whether you're a junior level, mid-level, or even senior level. I'm sure leadership is one word that is being said in, everywhere you find yourself. The word leadership is just flying around. Everybody's talking about leadership. But what really is leadership? And I mean, there are different parts of it. So, and I have this ideology that you don't lead people if you have not led yourself. And that's why we're starting from the basics, which is self-leadership. So before you go ahead to lead people, lead this, lead that, you must be able to lead yourself. And then we thought about it, okay, let's have a self-leadership webinar where people come to learn about personal leadership. And that's why we're doing this today. And then we also thought about it. If we're going to be teaching or talking about this particular subject, who can we have talk about it? And there's no other person than Mr. Debayo, because we've seen him talk about personal leadership, self-leadership in a very practical way that I'm sure after this session, you will understand why is the best person for this. And I'm just going to run you through his background, or who our facilitator is today. So he is, as Adebayo Adegun, is a respected trainer, executive coach, organization development consultant with 2 decades of experience across diverse industries and sectors. And he is the CEO and lead partner of Crosstie Solution, and he works with senior management to build leadership capacity, unlock organizational performance, and drive culture-led transformation in 21st century workplace. Adebayo is best known for his ability to distill complex leadership challenges into practical solutions that deliver measurable results. He has trained and coached directors and deputy directors from institutions such as CBN, Debt Management Office, DMO, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporations, NUPRC, Settler Petroleum, Lagos State Government, and many more like that. And I mean, his career began in 2004 with NIIT as adjunct faculty before moving into core learning and development roles at International Data Management Service and Summit, development. There's so many more to say about Mr. Adebayo, but in 2013, Adebayo founded Crosstie Solution, now a leading people development and management consulting firm. Under his leadership, Crosstie has delivered trainings, coachings, all the interventions to over 5,000 professionals spanning executive teams, technical leaders, and frontline managers. I mean, from just his profile that I read out to us, we have seen the word leadership in several. I've mentioned the word leadership several times, and I'm sure that you know what to expect from our facilitator today. So it's going to take us on a short, I don't want to say course, but it is like a course, a short course on self-leadership. And I hope you're getting your questions ready because it's going to be a swell time. Okay, thank you, Mr. Adebayo. We're glad to have you. Just you're doing well. Good evening.
Good evening, Adibidi. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
A pleasure to have you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Adibidi. Thank you for this privilege. I mean, it's always an honor to be amongst people to learn, to unlearn, to relearn again. And this conversation that we're having here today is something that I'm quite very passionate about, right? When it comes about the topic self-leadership. Self-leadership. And I mean, I love your introduction so well, where you mentioned that you can't lead yourself today except you can't lead others rather except you have mastered the art of leading yourself. So that means it starts with you first. Ability to lead yourself, ability to manage yourself, and trust me, you're then going to grow into being able to manage others. I mean, I always say this, although it's a very difficult thing to actually accept, and which is the fact that if you have not mastered the art of leading yourself, can I say don't take leadership positions? If you have not mastered the art of leading yourself, I would say don't take leadership positions, right? And that's because you don't want to lead people and then destroy lives, right? Because when you assume leadership positions, everything about you, you become role models, you become mentor, you become coach. People will start looking at you. Um, and then they would almost want to do what you're doing. So you agree with me that if you have not mastered the art of leading yourself, you are probably going to not be able to lead others well. Today, I used to talk about when people talk about very terrible bosses, very bad bosses, and all of that. I would not say 100% is their fault. A lot of times, when I've also had opportunity of meeting with those people, guess what I usually would notice? I would actually notice that if you look at also their background, their career journey, they have actually also been a product, or they are actually product of bad leaders. And automatically, because that is exactly what they have come to realize, or that's the only way they have come to realize the way to lead people, they assume that's the only way you can get results from people. And then they also, so the same thing they complained about maybe about 10, 15 years ago, they are now in leadership position and they would almost do the same thing as well, which is why I always and always say every point in time that yes, leaders should first of all master the art of leading themselves before they go into the art of leading others. So today, let's go on this journey together. And I'm sure I have participants here with me. I'm sure you're going to be, because I'm going to be using my chat box a lot with you. So please feel free to always go to the chat box and please share your thoughts with me. Let me know what you think as we progress with this conversation. The topic once again says ability to lead yourself. And once again, I want to welcome you. I think Adimide has actually read my profile out to you. So we'll skip this part. Now, I usually will say this, especially when I'm having conversations around, self-leadership, which is many people I say, would actually work and conduct their lives in a way that guarantees non-performance. Many people would work and conduct their lives in a way that guarantees non-performance, right? Learning how to manage yourself will definitely help you to become better achievers. If you keep, and basically what I'm trying to say here is, if you have not mastered the art of leading yourself, then you are going to struggle in leading others. And you will see clearly that if you don't master that art very well, if you're not conscious that, oh, I need to get it right first as an individual, it's only when I get it right in the workplace, at home, in the community, wherever I find myself, I am going to be positioned for better leadership opportunity or for better opportunity in general because I've been able to lead myself. That is very important for you. And you will see it across in organizations. For the people that I have on this call here with me, you will probably remember that those days, maybe about 15 years, 10, 15 years ago, how many people do you see, or who do you see in leadership sessions? Who? Mostly you find out you're always saying the directors, you're always saying CEOs, you're always saying C-suite executives. Those are the people you find in leadership training programs. They're always going to the best of the best of the best business schools around the world. And all they are doing is leadership training. And then what have you seen change in the last about 5 years? What I've seen practically, especially for me in this field, consistently training people on this subject leadership, is that I've seen that leadership development is not only for C-suite anymore. It's not only for executives. It's not only for CEOs anymore. It's not only for directors anymore. Everyone within the organization right now should be trained, or is right now, as now, if an organization has made it a mandatory development or personal development initiative, that everyone should be trained on leadership within an organization. Why? Because the subject, the concept of leadership has changed previously. So why would you see only executives go for leadership training? It is because the assumption of leadership is that you are right there at the top. If you're looking at your screen right now, you can see my hand. You are right there at the top, and then you have people below that you are leading. That was the previous assumption. That was 15, 20, even about 10 years definition of leadership. Oh, I am leading people, and so people have no choice but to follow me. So people would follow you because they are getting paid. People would follow you because they just have to, not because they want to. Did you get the difference? People would follow you not because they want to, but because they have to. And that's exactly what you're going to say. They are following you because it is you. You are the leader. You are the boss. And that's exactly why they'll follow you, which is what you have as previous leadership concept. But today, you see even an intern, a junior officer, a mid-level within an organization going for leadership programs. Why? Because organizations have clearly seen now that leadership is not only for the people at the top, even the people below. There's a program we have in Crosstie Solutions. We call it Managing Your Boss. In fact, we just deliberately put the word manage your boss. It should have been lead your boss. But we don't want to put it as, oh, you are leading your boss. But in actual fact, you are actually leading your boss, because the whole concept about the program is the ability to influence your boss in taking the decision. So how do you influence your boss if you don't have a good relationship with your boss? And I'm sure some of us on this call, we've been in that position before where we have influenced the people or our boss, the people you're working with. That is you leading from the bottom, right? So previously, like I mentioned, leadership used to be people at the top, and then you are managing or you are leading or controlling the people that are here. But today, you now have leading from below, and you also have leading across. What is leading across? Leading your colleagues, influencing your colleagues to get your own job done faster. Leading from below, which is managing your boss, influencing your boss so that you can get things done. It's part of stakeholder management, ability to manage your boss to get the result that you want to get. That for me is extremely important for you as anyone. So irrespective of your career ladder, irrespective of wherever you are, either you're at the top, either you're below, either you are the middle, wherever you find yourself in the organization, you also have the power to influence others. And that's the conversation that we're going to be having here today. So what exactly is self-leadership? Is the ability to be able to lead yourself, manage yourself, produce better results, so that you can use that to be able to influence the people that you have around you. People are always attracted to people who are delivering results. In fact, I used to say excellence is contagious. If you are able to lead yourself, if you're able to manage yourself, if you're able to deliver on your own mandate, if you're able to deliver your own result, automatically you attract people to yourself. In fact, I usually will put this one anytime I'm taking top leaders on personal branding. I used to say, look at what people come to you to discuss. Look at the conversations and the types of conversations that people bring to you. You see that thing they bring to you is exactly how they see you or how they perceive you. If people are always coming to you to say, hey, I'm stuck somewhere, could you please provide advice for me? Could you please provide direction for me on this thing? That means they are seeing you. Even when you don't even have a title, leadership, you are actually leading people. And I'm sure, I mean, if I have some of us here, you probably can tell. You know people today without any leadership title, but they are actually influencing other people. I'm sure you know that very well. There are several people around today. And you know people with leadership title today that they have zero influence, zero positive influence on the people that are actually working closely with them. And you also know that person within the team without any leadership title, but has a great influence on the people around them. That is what we call leadership. People are only attracted to you because of the way you have managed your own life. People are only attracted to you because of the way you have managed your own tasks. People are only attracted to you because you are a high achiever, because you are a high performer, because you've been able to lead and manage your life properly. That's exactly what makes people to be attracted to you, and that's exactly what will make them for you to be able to influence them. So that's basically what self-leadership is all about. Now I want to use a chat box, right? So please go to the chat box right now. I want to ask you one question. I'm sure some of us on this call, we've been in the workplace for quite a while, and you probably have people that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. And I want you to mention for me, please, today, let's give them their flowers, right? Let's give them their flowers. So go to the chat box for me and please drop one. Because of time, let's just put it at one. One person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. One person, please put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box for me. One person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. Who is that person? Give me the name. Give me the name of the person. One person. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniela, for sharing that with us. Mr. Val Okafo. Who else again? One person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. Give me the name. Give me the name. Let's give them their flowers today. Let's give them their flowers. Thank you very much, Okwemi. Sheyi Olubi. Thank you very much, Okwemi. Who else again? One person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. One person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. Please put it in the chat box. Let us see. Let us see. Let us see. Let us see. That's one person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey. Who is that person? Who is that person that have greatly influenced you in your career journey? Let's have one more, and then, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sampson. Okay, yes. So you have seen clearly. And then my next question is, you see this person that you have mentioned, please write out one quality of that person. What is it about them that they have used to influence you? What is it about this person, these persons that you have mentioned? What is it about them? Please just give me their attributes. Give me their attribute, their characteristics. One word. Use one word to describe them. One word to describe this person that have greatly influenced you. Give me one word. One word of this person. What is it about them? What is it about them? Okay, purpose-driven. Thank you very much, Daniela. Who else again? Who else again? One word for this person that have greatly influenced you. One word for this person that have greatly influenced you. One word. One word for this person that have greatly influenced you. Who else again? Who else again? Who else again? Please put it in the chat box for me. What is it about this one person? Goal-oriented, Okwemi says there. Thank you so much, Okwemi, for sharing that. Who else again? Who else again? Let's have one more person. What is it about this person? Discipline. Ah, thank you very much. I like that. Discipline, 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 discipline you have there. As you can see, I used to say this very well. these persons, I'm not sure they sat you down at one event or in one meeting. And then they said, hey, my name is, okay, let me go back to, let me use Okwemi for example. My name is Sheyolubi. And you know what? I want to tell you, I am a goal-oriented person. I'm sure they never had that meeting with you, right? Or Samson, Mr. Samson or Okere here from Guinea there. I'm sure he didn't sit you down to say, I'm a disciplined person, right? I'm sure that meeting never held, right? But it is something that you witnessed over time. It is the accumulation of the experiences that you had with them while working with them, either past or present, is exactly what has given you that assumption or that clarity as to this person is a goal-oriented person. This person is disciplined. This person is a purpose-driven person. It's that one heart. So you have seen they are not on this call today. They are not here today, but trust me, you have mentioned them in a room, on a meeting, in this particular webinar where they are not even here today. And I'm sure it is from their disposal, it is from their interactions, it is from their engagement with you. That is exactly where you summed up this label or these characteristics or this one quality that you have given to them, which is exactly what self-leadership is all about. Ability to lead yourself. Now, some of them will not even know that their level of discipline to work, discipline on how to get things done, that has had significant impact on you as an individual. I'm sure the person who is a purpose-driven person, you just probably watch him live his life. You just probably watch him continuously exhibit certain characteristics and you say, oh, this person is a purpose-driven person. I don't know if Daniela can speak. If you can speak, please. The person you have mentioned, Mr. Valo Kafa, I would like to even ask you, what is it about him that you saw to sum up this characteristic or this quality you have given to him? I mean, labeled him a purpose-driven person. If you want to talk to us, please just unmute and just talk to us about this. I'd like to hear from you, just to even hear from you. Why did you label him a purpose-driven person?
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Daniela. Please go ahead.
Why I would say Mr. Val Okafor is a purpose-driven person. He's a public speaker, and every time he speaks, he always talks about living life with a purpose. Even if it's in your career, your personal life, live it with a purpose. And there's this thing he always says, that the opposite of life is not death, but purposelessness. So, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniela, for sharing that with us. Ginika, do you want to share? You had mentioned discipline. I would love to hear from you. What is it about this person that you have given him the title that is a disciplined person? Do you want to share with us quickly? Hi, Ginika. Do you want to share with us? Okay. I think we'll proceed. We can't hear from Ginika there. Okay, but I mean, I really love what Daniela shared with us, and that's really spot on. Ability to be able to do what? To lead yourself, and then consistency on sharing just you living a purposeful life. Now that has influenced her so much, and then she has given that label to the person, say, this person is a purpose-driven person. So the big question is, let's turn the table around, right? Look at you yourself. And this is where self-leadership or self-assessment starts from. If people are on this call, or people are in the training session or somewhere, and they have to mention something about you as an individual, what is it they are going to say about? What is that thing about you? Because self-leadership is about leading yourself. And sometimes you don't even know the level of impact about how you coordinate, live your life on a daily basis, how it influences the people around you. So that is where self-leadership comes from. And I'm also encouraging you today, be known for something, build a personal brand around things, and be very much deliberate and consistent with that one thing, because that's exactly what people would know you for. Let's move on. What are the major core pillars of self-leadership? There are three major pillars. It's self-awareness. The second one is self-confidence. And the third one is actually self-esteem. Let's look at self-awareness, for example. I mean, for you to live your life, I mean, I keep using Daniela's example here to say this person is a purpose-driven person, right? The person definitely is aware about himself or herself, and he knows clearly his strengths, his weaknesses, the opportunities tied to his strengths, the threats tied to his weaknesses. Is fully aware about his environment and who he is, the power that exists in him, what the value he brings to the table, is aware of it, and those weaknesses as well. He's also equally aware about those weaknesses. Because you cannot lead yourself until you have mastered the art of being aware about who you are as a person. There is no way you can lead yourself if you are not even conscious about certain fundamentals, certain ingredients that has made you who you are as a person. If you're not aware about it, then what you keep doing is just to keep wallowing through the vicious circle, because you are trying to always, in fact, a lot of times people who are not aware, what you see yourself doing every time is that you're trying to copy almost everybody. It's copy and paste you're always doing. Oh, what is Mr. Hay doing right now? Oh, let me copy this Mr. Hay. And then when you see that that is not working for you again, then you think about, oh, what is Mr. B doing again? Oh, let me go and copy and paste. And then you start running with people's blueprint. The question is, what is your own blueprint? What is your own strategy? What is your own personal brand? Are you even aware about it? You cannot build a personal brand. You cannot lead yourself as someone until you have mastered the art of being aware of who you are as a person. And that is a journey. It's not a 30 minutes or a 1 hour webinar. You're going to master the art of being aware of who you are. It's a journey. Every day you are conscious of, who am I? You see yourself in certain situations and you see how you react. I'm taking notes about, oh, okay, I can see, oh, wow, my resilience level, my threshold has improved. Oh, okay, I think I find my energy more in the afternoon or in the morning or in the evening. Oh, okay. Now, that consciousness about who you are, how you are wired, the ingredients that has made you are, your experiences in life, your level of exposure, your level of education, both formal and informal, the environment where you grew up, all of these factors would have contributed largely to who you are. So you can see that there are no two persons with the same formula. There are no two persons with the same ingredients. There are no two persons with the same attributes. So because you are different in your own way, you need to find your own self. And then it is from your strengths that you have discovered who you are as a person, you can now begin to lead yourself. People can tell when they see clearly that we don't even understand him very well. We don't know where he is. Some days it's like this, some days it's like that. And that's because you are still struggling to find yourself. So it's a journey, like I said earlier, but it's a journey where you need to pay close attention, because in leading yourself, it starts with self-awareness. When you are aware about leading yourself, or when you are aware about yourself, then we can begin to discuss those other two elements, which are your level of self-confidence and your level of self-esteem. Today, I say to you, people struggle with self-confidence. People struggle with self-esteem. I'm sure you know people. I'm sure you have met them before. I'm sure you have them as friends. I'm sure you have them as colleagues. I'm sure it might even be you listening to me this evening. And when you struggle with low self-confidence or low self-esteem, it's going to rub off on your level of self-leadership. You will not even be able to lead yourself very well because you have not mastered the art of being confident or building up on your self-esteem. And there's a distinction. I don't want us to miss this there. There's a distinction between confidence and self-esteem. And I'm just going to explain to you so that it becomes quite easier for you. Self-confidence, it's on the outside. It's what people would see. It's if I meet you today and we're exchanging pleasantries, instantly I might be able to see your level of self-confidence from the way you speak. And your self-confidence would also come from the knowledge that you have, from the experience that you have gathered, from what you know about a particular subject. That's exactly where your self-confidence will come from. And what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is on the inside. So always remember, The difference between self-confidence and self-esteem is that self-confidence is on the outside, self-esteem is on the inside. Self-esteem is a value that you have placed upon yourself. It's your self-worth. It's how much you respect your own self. It's how much you respect your own journey. It's how much you are aware about who you are as a person. Those are the factors that will make you, either you are going to have a high self-esteem or a low self-esteem. But again, like I mentioned, and I work with a lot of people in this space who struggle with low self-esteem, and I always say that immediately you are aware about the root cause of your low self-esteem, either it is parenting, either it is experiences, either it is your level of exposure, either it is the level of informal education, the teachings that you got while growing up, either it is those factors. In fact, you have almost solved 60% of the problem of your low self-esteem. So if you think today that you struggle with low self-esteem, it starts from the ability to have mastered who you are as a person. And then once you are aware about those factors, then that's a build-up for your self-esteem. What are the power of your self-discipline? What are those commitments that you need to make? One thing I'm going to say, which is part of our objective for this program, is that what? Which we're going to discuss something else right now. But before we do that, I want to walk you through the power of self-discipline. I mean, I'm happy that somebody on this call even mentioned discipline as one of the traits or the characteristics of one of the person who have greatly influenced him or her. And it says follow through on commitment. Whatever you say you are going to do, you're going to do it. Keep emotions in check during pressure. When you find yourself in an emotional state, ensure that yes, you are not overreacting, or you are not in a position where you are going to say things or do things you are later going to regret. That is extremely very important. And then balance confidence with humility. Sometimes high confidence could be perceived as being proud, right? I'm sure you probably heard that before. But balance your self-confidence with humility, because that gives you the power to be able to influence people around you. So remember what we said earlier about self-awareness. I want to go back to this chart again. Core pillars of self-leadership. Remember what we discussed about self-awareness. One thing that we have brought you in this session here today is that we want you to live here, even to an extent, understanding yourself, understanding some factors that has made you who you are as a person. So we have brought you this information right now that we think is very important for you, which is every one of us, we have certain personality traits. And I'm very, very much used to the Dick's personality. I got certified on it, and it's been a wonderful tool, especially for us who are in the corporate space, right? And the Dick's talks about very, very simple. It says each and every one of us, we all have the DISC in us. And what is D? D stands for dominant. I stands for influence. S stands for steady. And C stands for cautious. DISC. DISC. Each and every one of us, we all have the DISC in us. But you know what? There is one that is more dominant in us than others, right? There is one that is more dominant in us than others. So we all have the DISC in you, but it's possible that your D is of higher, or your high is higher, or your S is higher, or your C is higher. You're probably wondering, okay, what does this mean? I mean, from the name, I think you can probably guess to say, okay, dominant. Oh, that's a domineering person. Oh, high. Oh, that must be an influential person. Oh, steady. That must be somebody who is quite stable, right? Cautious. Oh, that must be somebody who is quite meticulous or careful, right? Exactly. Now, let's look at those combinations right now. And I'm going to walk through you about the DISC. The DISC, number one, is that dominance. The D stands for dominance. Who are the dominant people? The dominant people are people with high energy. They are very much goal-oriented. They are result-driven, as you can see on the slide here. They are result-driven. They are drivers. They are very competitive, right? That is exactly who they are. That's how they are wired. When you are also communicating with them, we like to keep the information so short and simple. They don't like to be boxed with a lot of information, but they are very goal-oriented people. They are very result-driven. They are drivers. They don't, when there is no activity, they are not happy. They like to be on the move. They like to talk. They like to engage. They like to be on the go. That is who they are as a person. And that is a dominant personality. And I'm sure some of us on this call are one, right? I'm going to come to the chat box shortly to ask you, if you know you are a D personality, please let me know if you're a D personality. But we're going to come to that shortly. Let's go to the next one, which is a high personality. The high stands for influence. Very optimistic people, high energy, life of a party. They get to an event in less than 1 or 2 minutes. Oh, they've exchanged pleasantries about 10 persons. They've collected business cards of almost everyone seated at the party. That's exactly what they have. Very high energy people, high influence people. They are more of persuasion. They are more of openness. They are more of thinking about building relationship with people. Exactly who the I personality is, right? And then the S personality, oh, they are the calm people. When you're talking to them, calm manner, calm approach, don't take anything rush. In fact, they don't like change at all. Just ensure that yes, everything about them is steady. There's no rush. If you put them into a rush, they're going to freeze. You never see the best of them at those situations. But they're very, very calm. They're very loyal people. They're very patient as well too. Those are the qualities of the S personality. And then the C personality. What are the qualities of the C personality? The C personality, in fact, I call them the Mr. Perfectionist. They are driven by excellence. They are very cautious. They're very meticulous, very careful. They don't want to do things. They are very analytical as well too. They are detailed oriented. They are very systematic, right? They want all the information compared to the D personality that wants you to keep the information short and simple, right? And that for them is how they actually get the work done. So you can see clearly with the DISC that all of us, and like I share with you, you will find out that what each and every one of us, we have this personality in us, right? You probably see that, oh, I have this element of this DISC in me, right? But like I mentioned, you will probably see also that you have one that is more dominant than the other one, right? Which is why it is important to be aware about who you are. Because a dominant person is wired differently from an influence person. An influence is wired differently from a steady person. A steady person is wired differently from a C person. Remember what we discussed about the D, goal-oriented. In fact, a lot of CEOs that you find today, they're actually in that bracket, right? Goal-oriented, always about the goal, about the results. They're always on the move. They're always talking. They're always engaging. That's who they are. But trust me, one weakness that they also have is that sometimes they can be very impatient, right? They can be very, very impatient. So one way at which they can increase their level of effectiveness is by being patient and being open and ability to listen to others. In fact, another thing about the D personality is that they do selective listening, right? When you are also engaging with them. But you've seen clearly what their strengths are, and now you have also seen what their weaknesses are. Let's take a look at the high. I mentioned the I earlier that, oh, they are very influential people. They are very optimistic, positive energy when you're engaging with them. They get to a place, oh, they've collected business cards from people, they've engaged, they are talking to people and all of those things. But that's the strength for them. But guess what the weakness is? Number one weakness for an I person is that they are high on procrastination. Oh, and I can procrastinate a lot, right? I will do it tomorrow, and I will do it tomorrow, and I will do it tomorrow. That's a weakness for them. So when we talk about self-discipline is actually meant for the I personality. And that is one weakness for them. And that's also one way they can increase their effectiveness. Be steady, even though we like them in the workplace. When everybody's running, they are the ones to tell us, oh, please calm down. You are running too much, right? We can make mistakes from all of these things. That's the strength that they have. They are also very loyal, very patient kind of people. Trust me, if you give an S a task to do, oh wow, eventually when they will come to you, they will go come back with a very wonderful work, right? At the end of the day, because that's who they are. But one way again, or the weakness to an S personality is that they don't like sudden change. And again, look at the workplace today. where things are always constantly changing. And S sometimes struggle in such kind of environments, right? And one way we are also telling them, or one way I'm telling them to also increase their effectiveness is to be open to change. So an S is somebody that will say, oh, why are we changing this software? I thought it's serving us well. We don't need to change it. That's an S for you, right? And then the last one is a C personality, right? Which is the perfectionist. They like to have all the information before they take a decision. And trust me, so that's the strength about them. They are very meticulous, they are very careful, very analytical, and that's their strength. But the weakness is that what? The world is going very fast. Sometimes you are not even going to need all of the information before you make an informed decision. In 2019, 2020, a concept called VUCA came in place. You know what VUCA means? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And that has become a trend whereby we live in a volatile world. We live in a world or in a corporate world filled with uncertainty. You never know what the government policy tomorrow will say. You never know what is going to happen to the day. There are so many complexities and there are so many ambiguities, right? But if you find yourself in leadership position, what VUCA is saying that you are going to have minimal time, minimal information, and you have to make big impact decisions. So you are seeing clearly that even though the C has their own strengths, but you can clearly also see that, yes, they also have their weakness. Imagine a workplace where all of us are D. I'm sure you know what that workplace will look like. It's going to be toxic because we are all trying to be competitive. We're all trying to be number one. We're all trying to be this. Imagine a workplace where all of us are high. Of course, it's life of a party every day. Every day is a party. There's a thank God it's Monday, thank God it's Tuesday, thank God it's Friday. But we're never going to get anything done. Imagine a workplace where all of us are S. Of course, we're going to be slow to react. Imagine a workplace where all of us are C. We're also going to struggle to get things done, right? To get things done in a fast pace. And that's exactly why it's important that you know yourself. So I want to quickly ask you right now, before we go to chat, but from what I've said, please put in the chat box for me. If you know you are a D, type D there. If you know you're an I, type I there. If you know you're an S, type S there. If you know you're a C, type a C there. Yes, I know you might struggle a bit with this, but try to give it your best shot, right? Where do you think you sit more, right? I know you might even say, oh, I think I'm in between this and this, but where do you see yourself sit more? Please quickly put it in the chat box for me. Let me see. Where do you see yourself more? Okay. Thank you, Favor, for sharing that. Who else again? Where do you think you see yourself share more? Where do you see yourself more? Okay, Benjamin says an S. Thank you very much. Who else again? Where do you see yourself more? Where do you see yourself more? Josephine thinks she's a C. Shinaka says, well, I'm a combination of the two. I want to know what combination you said of two. Our appointment thinks it's S and C. Daniela thinks it's also S. So you can see clearly in the workplace, the way you can lead yourself is by mastering yourself. Now that you are aware about who you are as a person, it helps you to be able to manage yourself. An SC or an S knows how to manage yourself. If you are trying to copy the D guy in the workplace, you know the D guy, they are the one who is always at the forefront. Trust me, you are only going to get frustrated. If you are also an high and you are trying to copy the D, or you are trying to copy the S, or you are trying to copy the C, you are also going to get frustrated as well too. So please, it is very important that you know yourself, you know your strength, and you play to your strength consistently. And that's exactly what it means to be a self-leader as well too. Look at what we have here. You cannot lead others until you have mastered the art of leading yourself. All right, on that note, now I will take questions, maybe one or two questions from you based on our conversation that we've had today about self-leadership. Please unmute yourself and let us know what questions you have for us, and I'll be very glad to provide a response or answers to your question. Okay.
All right. I see a question in the chat box. So the person is asking if you can get a recap. Yes, you definitely get a recap, but you would have to fill the feedback form. So when you fill the feedback form, you have access to a certificate and you also have access to get a recap of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So while
Question.
we're waiting for question, okay. While we're waiting for questions, I have a question.
Okay.
And it's about discipline.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we know that there's a popular definition that discipline is you doing what you have to do, even when you don't feel like, right? But sometimes in the workplace, discipline can look like you're being too rigid. You're not flexible. You just want to, stick to what you're doing. You want to keep at it. You don't want to be distracted, even though, other people might not know that, it's difficult for you. And then you just have to do it because it's what you have to do. But they see it as, oh, you're being rigid, you're not being flexible, you're not accommodating, and all of that. How do you balance these things? If you're being disciplined, you have something you want to achieve and you're, going for it and all of that. So how do you balance discipline and then rigidity in the workspace?
That's a brilliant question. And I can completely align with it because in my career as an employee, I was called Mr. Close of Business, Mr. COB. And basically what that means is that personal conversation that you want to have with me, I will ask you, can we do this at COB? And I never knew I was building a personal brand because I kept on giving people that same excuse every time that you want to talk to me, oh, can we do this at COB? Can we do this at COB? Can we do that? And then before I know, everywhere in the organization, everybody was, oh, Mr. COB, Mr. COB. So I completely get, and I think it's very important. But again, as you go through your career ladder and where you are, would probably determine. So I'm going to answer that question from a point of context because what applies to a junior person might not apply to a mid-level person, might not apply to a senior person. For a senior person, I always say clearly that discipline is very, very important. What's the word right now that we use? Ensuring that you have boundaries is extremely very also important as well. So for you, because you need to get things done. But what is important for you at that top level is to find a balance. I don't want to also be too rigid that people would not be able to relate with me. I must be very, very conscious about that I am also in the workplace and it's a teamwork. So I can't just focus on my job alone and just do my job alone. No. At an entry-level person, maybe I can still take that from you. But as you keep growing through your career ladder, it becomes important that, yes, you focus more on building relationship. So for an entry-level person, you can be rigid to an extent, but as you keep growing, the rigidity have to reduce because you have to now be intentional about building relationship with people. That's number one way I'm going to answer that question. The second way I'm going to answer that question is, as you can see clearly about the DISC, the knowledge that we have given you today is about self-leadership. But if this was a team leadership session, if we're having a team leadership session, there's an exercise we usually do in the class. We will not flip it. You know what we'll do? I will not tell you right now that you know yourself as a D, what are you going to do to work with the I, with the S, with the C? Because you have clearly seen that it's not only your type of person that you're going to have in the workplace, there are other personalities as well. So what do I need to do with the high? So if I know I'm very high on self-discipline, but I know around me I have the I person who is not disciplined, right, by default, right? They're always jumping from one table to another table, always greeting people, always talking, always gisting and all of those. That's a high. So an high will come to disturb you, right? When you are so much fixated on your laptop and you're trying to work, and high will disturb you. But because again, you know you're in the workplace, you have to give that attention to the person. So for me, I would say it's the balance. Ability to give that balance to every other person within the organization. But again, you can't also lose focus on your own self. You will be shocked that in the nearest future, people would know you as a self-disciplined person. But you don't just want to take it to the extreme where it then reduces your level of relationship with people. It reduces your level of collaboration with people. It reduces your level of influence. Remember again that relationship is a background to influence people. And if you are quite very rigid that you don't build relationship with people, you might not be able to influence them. So that's exactly how I'm going to answer that question.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that answered my question. To our participants, please drop your question in the text box. Thank you, Daniela. Please drop your questions. We have a window of 2 more questions before we wrap up this session. So I'd like to hear from you. Even if it's just one question, let's hear from you. What's your thought? I mean, we've learned about the pillars of leadership, self-awareness, self-confidence, self-esteem. We've also learned about, leadership, self-discipline. We've learned about the DISC personality. If this is new to you, what do you think about it? Do you have questions around it? I want to hear from you. So I will be looking at the chat box for your question. But while I wait for you, I have one more question. So, Mr. Ibayo, I think over your career, or let me say, okay, let me rephrase my question. I think you're a D person. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so I think discipline will naturally come to you. Am I correct?
Very well.
Okay. So for people that are not, don't have this personality and they struggle with, self-sabotage or procrastination, what's one advice you would give to them to become a disciplined person so that they can self-lead themselves properly?
I would say, whatever it is you want to achieve, attach a consequence to it. I've shared this with people and I've seen it work so well, especially when it comes to procrastination. I always feel that people procrastinate for 2 reasons. It's either they do not have the required skill set, information about what they want to do. It's quite difficult, so they want to push it to behind and then do the one that is quite easy at first, especially when we look at it from the context of the workplace. Or there is no enough reason why they should even do it in the first place. There are no consequences that if I don't do it, this is exactly what will happen to it. So I always say that self-discipline will start from you attaching a consequence to whatever you want to do. The question of attaching consequence to it is, if I don't do this, what would happen? I was speaking to a young man. That's where I'm going to wrap this up. I was speaking to a young man in the workplace, and he was talking about, it was during his appraisal. And he said he was supposed to do a program. And in doing that program, I think the weight attached to it is about 10 or 15 or thereabouts. And in not doing the program, it was due for a promotion. In fact, no, the next promotion was a managerial position for him. And he needed that particular training. And in fact, he said the training had been on his laptop. He ought to have completed it for a very long time. But he never knew it was going to be important. Only for the MD one day to come to the organization and say, we need somebody. Our end manager just left us, and then we need somebody to quickly assume this position. But for you to assume this position, this particular certification is required for you to be there. And then it was when he remembered, oh my goodness, I have not done this. And I would just seamlessly go into the particular role. And then he said, if I had attached a consequence to that action to say, or if I had seen clearly that said, do you know that not completing this course could affect promotional opportunities that will come to me in the workplace? I think I would have done it, but I just felt that it wasn't necessary. So honestly, for me, I've always said it worked for me personally, and I'm always sharing with people, attach consequences to it. It's just like what you said earlier. Getting up from bed every day to go to work. It's because of that you don't want to go hungry. The consequence of going hungry is exactly the consequence of losing your shelter, the consequence of not having food on your table, the consequence of not being able to take care of yourself is why sometimes you push yourself out of the bed. I'm sure a lot of us don't want to leave that bed. You actually, I think it looks like one person wants to stay on that bed. right? You probably want to remain on the bed, right? But that's standing up on the bed. I mean, even though you're not conscious about it, there are consequences, is exactly why you stand up on the bed. So if you can attach consequences to the goals that you set for yourself, to a task you want to come down, say, if I don't do this, what would come back? Just asking that question brings clarity on if you should prioritize it or not. That's exactly how I'm going to answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So attaching consequences. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I can see some people that are procrastinators here. So, all right. Thank you. I'm still waiting for your question. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Anthony has a question. Say, hi, Mr. Bayo. Great session, and thanks for the deep insight shared. My question is, when leading a team with all these different personalities, especially as it affects self-confidence, how would you advise helping to build self-confidence of a team member who seem disengaged due to low confidence? Oh, okay. So the team member is disengaged due to low confidence. How do you help them?
And I see this happen a lot of times, right? And I speak this from experience because I mean I've been in that situation before where you have people with even not even just low self-confidence, even low self-esteem within the team. And then automatically they are always behind. They don't want to speak. They don't want to share their thoughts. Sometimes and they have the best of the best idea, but they don't want to share it because they are not confident about themselves. And I'm going to answer this from two ways. I mean, number one is for us as a leader, and I'm happy you said as a team leader, um, our work in the workplace is huge. This is a self-leadership session. If this was a team leadership session, trust me, there's so much for us to say. Our work, we put on the cap of a mentor, of a coach, of a counselor, of a leader, of a pacifier. we put on the cap of so many things. You have to literally look out for the people, the weakest link in your team, the one that is not speaking up. Because if you don't pay close attention, for example, the D's like me, right? They would come at you and shout and speak so loud in the team. And then the ones that are quiet, who are struggling with low self-esteem or low self-confidence, you're probably going to bury their voices. And sometimes they just keep quiet. If you notice that, for me, that's why I say you have to put on the cap of a coach or a mentor. Might need to have that conversation. And the conversation should be action-driven conversation. Number one, try as much as possible to understand the root cause. So, I've noticed this pattern in you. I strongly feel that you have a lot to say, but I've noticed that you keep quiet at meetings. Is there something you want to share for me? Trust me, the first response you are going to get is nothing. But I'm sure if you go further, ask deeper questions, you are going to get. So I always recommend for all leaders, please, a coaching and a mentoring skills training is important for you because that is going to be your job as a leader. So you're going to speak to that person and then you're going to question. And then if you have built enough relationship and trust with that person, you might see the person open up and share certain things with you. That's the number one thing I would say. And like I mentioned earlier, if you make it aware, one ways at which you can then help them is that at those team meetings, put them on spot. Hey, hi, Ademide, I would like to hear from you. Hey, hi, Okwemi, I would like to hear from you. Hey, hi, David, what do you have to say about this situation? That's exactly how you bring them because you're not going to speak. You know them. They're not going to share their thoughts, right? When the D's and the highs are talking and all of those things, the S or the ones struggling with that low self-esteem or low self-confidence might not see anything. So you put them on that spot, you ask them questions, you continuously entrust in them, you continuously trust them to say good things, you continuously encourage them to do that. And I think with that, it will definitely, but like I said earlier, please, if you have your hands on a coaching and mentoring course, please do it because it's part of our responsibilities as leaders within the organization. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Adebayo. I hope Anthony got an answer to his question and I hope you're satisfied. And if you're looking to get a mentoring, coaching and mentoring course, please reach out to Crosstie Solutions. We have tons of resources for you and even courses where you can learn these things. Okay, I think we don't have any questions from the participants, but we have the feedback form in the chat box. Please use the feedback form so you could get your certificate and also get a recap of this session. And when you get your certificate, please post on social medias and tag Crosstie Solutions, whether on LinkedIn or Instagram, Facebook, or any social media platform of your choice. We will be looking to get that from you. Also, we have a community, we call it the Knowledge Hub, where you get to know or get information about the next webinar, and also we share knowledge, we share different materials where you get to learn, for you to learn rather, and you know that knowledge is power, so I'm sure that you want to join that. Also, if you enjoyed this webinar and you like to learn more, we have a resource vault on our website where you could learn, you could take courses, sorry, read books where you see about this that we've talked about, and even other courses, other aspect of work that you like to read on. And for people that join the webinar, if you want to buy a course on our resource vault, or you like to read something on our resource vault, you can always reach out. Once you join the community hub, there's a discount for you. So when you reach out, you get a discount for you to be able to purchase any of our resources on the website. Okay, I think that's what we have for today. And on behalf of Crosstie Solutions, I want to say thank you so much for attending this webinar. I believe that this has been a great impact in your professional development. And we also want to say a big thank you to Mr. Adebayo for explaining this, for teaching us about self-leadership. And I would like to say have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. I see Daniela clapping. Daniela, you're not just going to get a 50% discount when you want to purchase, you're going to get a 100% discount. Yes, because you've been so engaging. So please reach out to me or join the what's it called? Join our knowledge hub and reach out to the admin, and then you get your discount. So there's a discount code for everyone and knowledge hub. But for you, don't worry, we're giving you a 100% discount. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely evening. See you at the next webinar.